Well, let's get you more now on the EU-China investment deal. I'm joined live via Skype by Kevin Mathews, Assistant Professor of European History at George Mason University. Great to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So give us an idea, which sectors on the EU side will likely benefit the most from this investment deal and which sectors on the Chinese side?
Well, on the EU side, the big winners are going to be the automotive sector, as your reporter said earlier, banking, and other technologies like that. They get greater access and they can invest directly into the Chinese market without going through joint partnerships. They also are guaranteed that they will no longer have to share technology. On the Chinese side, the main winner is going to be the Chinese investors in Europe already. This secures their business relationships, and it also gives them access to the European energy market. But even more than that, this agreement is really a huge diplomatic win for Beijing because it builds on an agreement that they came to just a month ago with 15 Asian nations, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which replaced the American-led Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, that was negotiated by the Obama administration and was ditched as soon as Donald Trump came into office. So this puts China in a much more commanding position generally.
So then politically, who on the EU side pushed hardest for this deal? And what does it say that all 27 EU leaders have agreed to this in principle?
Well, the driving force behind this agreement was German Chancellor Angela Merkel. She has been pushing for greater a greater EU relationship with China for a number of years, and she leaves the premiership next year. So she wants this to be her crowning achievement. I think she persuaded the other 27 that they have to establish their own independent existence. They cannot depend on the United States any longer. And so they're stepping out from the American umbrella in many ways, and that won over the other 26 leaders.
Now, we know that this deal has been about 7 years in the making. So you mentioned the US. How much did the phase one deal between China and the US give impetus for this deal versus, say, other factors?
Well, according to the EU, it's just a leveling up agreement, as they would put it, because when Mr. Trump ended his trade war, or began to end his trade war with China last December, among other things, he was guaranteed greater access to the Chinese market for American businesses. So from the EU's perspective, this is nothing more than gaining a level playing ground with the Americans.
So then how do you expect US officials and businesses to react to this agreement?
Well, they're not happy at all. This shows the complete bankruptcy of Mr. Trump's America First policy. Because as I just said a minute ago, the Europeans seem to have decided that they can no longer rely on the Americans as a dependable partner. And so they have to look out for their own interests. It's interesting that they agreed to come to this deal with the Chinese even before Joe Biden becomes president next month. And Mr. Biden can't do much about it right now. We only have one president at a time in this country. But he's already making it very clear that he's not happy with what the Europeans have done. But this is really a problem with American domestic politics, too. Americans don't seem to realize that there are now three main trading blocs in the world. There's the United States, there's the EU, and there's China. And Americans seem to be more interested in fighting endless battles over everything from abortion to Civil War monuments than looking to the future and realizing that if they don't get their act together, to use a cliche, they're going to be increasingly left behind.
And we do know that the US is one of the countries that raised concerns. We know that all 27 member countries of the EU governments still have to formally agree, and then the deal will face a vote in European Parliament. So given those criticisms then, what, if anything, could potentially derail the deal?
What could derail the deal is what almost kept the deal from even happening, and that is the dispute over labor rights. These talks almost crashed this past autumn because of the EU's insistence that Beijing get more serious about its commitments that it made to the International Labor Organization, most especially on the issue of forced labor, which is just a euphemism for slavery. I think people in Beijing need to understand that their reputation has taken quite a battering in the rest of the world over the handling of the coronavirus pandemic, over the handling of the Hong Kong democracy movement, over the treatment of minority Uyghurs. And there is mounting pressure in the European Parliament to block this agreement precisely on those issues. So I don't think anybody should kid themselves that this is a done deal. It's not.
Certainly a lot to debate there. Thank you so much. Kevin Mathews there, Assistant Professor at George Mason University.
Thank you.